There can't be any question of it. He must have stolen the poison that day. He stole it, and used it to kill. And if that's the case, as you've identified, the poison itself is the definitive evidence we need. Because whoever stole it from the laboratory that day is the true culprit here. Why are you laughing?
She's so into it. She forgot to make her voice manly.
Oops. What's your point, you annoyingly handsome country bumpkin? My point is this. There's only one way that you, Memo-san, could have stolen the poison that day.
He's like, oh, call me handsome.
I have heard enough verbal conjecture now, thank you. What the court must be showed is evidence. What proof do you have that this witness stole the poison on the day in question?
The pen?
The pen?
With the liquid? Very small amount of liquid inside the ink reservoir?
It's the pen?
I guess so, yeah. That's what I say.
The proof, Your Excellency, is this fountain pen. Ah! The fountain pen, how can that possibly be relevant? These magical pens somehow seem to have enough ink to write down many thousands of kanji characters. I believe they arrived in our country for the first time some 15 years ago now.
Bah, I swear by a weasel hair calligraphy, nothing else. These newfangled pens are merely a fad.
Weasel hair?
Weasel hair. Well, as a forward-thinking man of words, I obviously love my fountain pen. Suck up a soup. It is a soupçon, but like, ooh. Suck up a soupçon of sumptuous ink, and one's works awash with words in the blink of an eye. Why do they know so many French words?
Because fountain pens are French. Fountain pens have a small reservoir in the barrel.
Today's
into which
language
ink
is French. Go ahead.
Into which ink is sucked up through the nib of the pen in order to write with later.
Well, like my family called me to translate a French phrase. Like it's all French today.
It's all French to me.
It's in the universe.
What is all this talking about sucking up ink have?
It's just as possible to suck ink up into the reservoir. It's also possible to eject it through the nib again, of course. Yeah, you're getting it, Shady.
Art thou feeling it now, Shady?
My word, can this really be? Well, Memo-san. When you saw the deadly poison before your eyes in the laboratory that day, you used your fountain pen, your very lifeblood, to steal some of it, didn't you? By siphoning the poison up through the nib and into the pen's reservoir. Dark!
More absurdity? That never happened.
True, we've heard that there are procedures in place to prevent thefts like this from the laboratory. But would anyone have thought to look inside a fountain pen, of all places?
No, I'm a little ashamed to say that for fear of offending our guests, such a detailed search would not have been conducted.
This is quite startling, I must say. I remind the court this pen was found in the clutches of the victim when she died. In other words, it was dropped at the scene by Memo-san. So the crucial question is, when exactly was the pen dropped? Are you suggesting? The natural conclusion is that in your haste to act whilst the victim was distracted for a moment, you dropped the pen after you emptied the poison from it into her glass.
There could have been a number of alternate explanations. For example, the witness could have been using his pen to write down details of his conversation with the victim. And when shocked by one of our outrageous answers, the pen fell from his quivering hand.
No, they can't be. If it was, how do you explain why the pen was devoid of ink? A cool name, like, I think it's kind of doesn't matter if she drank a little ink. Like, yeah, ink's nasty, but like, she's drank poison. That's very deadly. She's dead.
What?
As you can see for
Ink is
yourself.
nasty.
I've been drinking it my whole life. I can't do your Archie voice.
This
you-
is really good.
What? What?
It was a good attempt.
I felt like I was closer to the old man, but as you can see for yourself if you examine the evidence, there would appear to be no ink present in the reservoir. What newspaper reporter goes to interview someone with nothing in his pen? No, the pen was dropped after the poison was filled, its reservoir had been emptied into the victim's glass. Witness, what do you have to say in your defense? Wahahaha! So this is how our modern justice system works, is it? So what if the ink in my pen runs dry? So what if my pencil snaps? I can always claw my way back into the game. I have plenty in reserve. Ah! You claim I
My
sucked.
leg!
You claim I sucked the poison up into my pen. That's wild speculation, nothing more. If you thought you could bring down a fine, upstanding citizen with a trick like that, think again.
It looks as though it's going to take one final decisive blow to finish this matter.
I still see it. The situation is now very simple. It rests upon whether or not this witness did indeed steal the poison on the day in question. And therefore, it all depends on whether or not the defense can prove that he did with evidence. No such evidence could possibly exist. Minimemo-san, this is how our modern justice system works. What? In the courtroom, evidence is everything. Something you would do well to remember. Because we are well past the point of speculation at this stage, I assure you. Very well then, I call upon the defense to present the aforementioned evidence. This is it then. This will be the final piece in the puzzle. The defense can prove, by means of this item, that it was the witness's pen that was used to steal the poison.
The reagent! The chemical reagent!
Counsel, what is this bottle? This bottle contains a unique chemical reagent that can identify the poison in question.
Ah!
Yes, that poison is entirely new synthesis of alkaloids developed by my colleagues, and it'd be impossible to detect traces of it by any other method.
Yes, cool name. I am indeed pretending to sound like a woman, pretending to sound like a man. I've been trying to do my best fake man voice for this.
The range!
Or from another perspective, simply with this chemical reagent, anybody at all could check for traces of the poison. A reagent? What? One drop of the contents of this bottle on the tip of your fountain pen, Minimemo-san, is all it will take to solve this case beyond all reasonable doubt. No, you can't. I won't.
Your crimes are bad enough, but at least know when to admit defeat.
Your Excellency, the defense requests permission to carry out the tests on the fountain pen at once. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
This isn't my fault. My empire drove me to this. Trying to hold head high as a civilized nation, but behind every foreign power's whim, I took up arms of the mighty pen. I filled the battlefield in news, all the name of justice and righteousness. Many memos and many memo.
Susato, with me!
I'm there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah! Did I do it right? That was at Susato Town, wasn't it?
Not quite. That was a Ryotaro takedown.
I know, Ray keeps just, like, revealing the secret.
I mean, everybody knows at this point. He's having trouble doing the voice anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Coolman. The models and animations are really amazing in this one. The instant the first drop of the reagent touched the nib of the fountain pen, it was clear to everyone present.
Way to tell that show.
When I saw it there in the lab, the poison, the devil got hold of me and decided to do it on a whim. I excused myself and emptied all the ink down the sink of the bathroom, washing the reservoir out carefully. And then you waited for an opportunity to suck up some of the poison, didn't you? Into your fountain pen. Yes, that's right.
Answer me one thing, Minimimo-san. Why did you steal it? For what purpose?
Isn't it obvious? To find out what it was made of and expose it in an article. I mean, it was a secret project after all. Too juicy for a journo like me to pass up.
And why did the Englishwoman end up dead?
I went into that hut intending to quiz her on her situation, that's all. As a reporter. A known killer, enjoying full freedom, evading justice by leaving the country. I told her what I thought about it. And she just laughed in my face.
Oh, what's this? A Far Eastern caveman purporting to practice journalism? Really? You must learn the difference between reporting and listening at doorways, ignorant plebeian.
What did you call me?
This country, with its pretensions to a justice system, to a free press, it's really very depressing. You see our superior ways in the West, yet you lack the mental capacity to emulate them. Get out of here, you oaf. Get out and crawl back into the cave you came from.
That's when I remembered about the deadly poison I happened to have in my pen at the time.
Yeah, Giselle's a rude dude with a tude.
Yeah, I'd poison her too, JK.
Only if somebody immediately stabs her before she dies of the poison.
I mean, he poisoned and stabbed her, so... What a terrible fate. In my head, I knew I should just get out of there as quickly as possible, but I couldn't. I couldn't let her get away with what she'd done, when she clearly had no remorse at all. I suppose it was my Giorno spirit getting all fired up. He's so sad. I'd like to ask you something. Yes? You often talk about justice. But surely as a journalist, you could have used other means to deliver the justice you sought. There's no justice in the press. Sorry? After that trial 9 months ago, I kept digging and digging to find out what had happened in that courtroom. And finally, I discovered the truth. It was a cover-up, that's what it was. A cover-up? What do you mean? I would remind you of your position, witness. Be careful what you say. Oh, come on. Doesn't it strike you as strange? We're suddenly not allowed to convict a foreign national? Consular jurisdiction should never have come into it. And yet that puffed-up Englishwoman was going to sail away into the sunset, a free woman. The only possible explanation is that, behind the scenes, some deal had gone on between Britain and Japan. What sort of deal? I'd done all my research, dug up all the dirt, was all ready to be published. But you know what happened? The editor just tore the article up.
You came under pressure from the government, you mean?
If our government is going to let criminals walk free, if they're going to crush the free press, then what choice do I have but to see that justice is done myself? Let's not forget, Many-Memo-san, that you committed murder yourself and you tried to lay the blame at the defendant's door. I'm sorry, but you're no better than Giselle Brett. What? The truth is, you have no right to talk about justice at all. I suppose.
It
would appear that we have reached a conclusion in this trial at last. Counsel for the defense, Ryotaro Nahodo. Oh, yes. Sorry, Your Excellency. Just musing in a manly way over here. It's almost unbelievable that this is your first experience of the Supreme Court. It was an excellent performance. In truth, it very much reminded me of your cousin's exploits. Oh, Nahodo-san. Ryunosuke, you mean? The way he handled the trial 9 months ago, and the way you handled this one. It gives me hope that we are genuinely entering a new era of justice in this land. It's flattering, Your Excellency. Hearing the defense you put forth today made me feel most cleanly. That the future of our justice system will be forged by you and your contemporaries. Thank you. So, Prosecutor Auchi, do you have any final thoughts? Prosecutor Auchi.
Do you know the subversion that's happening here?
I know what's going on.
For those of you who may not know, he is purporting himself as about to commit seppuku, which is done when you're ashamed of how poorly you've done in some way, shape, or form and want to atone in the most grievous sense. But I can very much guarantee that they're going to subvert it in some weird way by him shaving his head or something.
I, Takatsuchi of the Auchi clan, have been bested by a callow youth not once now, but twice. If there was any shred of my former self left, it has withered and died here today.
Gosh, your journey to cultural enlightenment sure took a while, didn't it?
Silence! Rather than living on in shame, I will end it all now with this blade. For that's the true path to Auchiism!
Quite literally.
Auchiism.
One hopes that the only way in which he'll be modeling himself after that witness, that's the only way.
Sprig of my top-knot, the time is right for farewell. Hope is lost forever. Takatsuchi.
They were so close at a what's it called, a haiku. One syllable off. Why not? Why didn't they just do it?
He's lost forever.
There's 6 syllables.
No,
in the
I think it's good. Where's
576. It should be 575.
For
well, he did just scream. He just screamed. He didn't scream.
Ah!
Oh, get the hell away. Such a solemn moment. Ba-na-ba-na-ba.
No, in regard to the defendant, Rei Membami-san.
Yes, Your Excellency?
I have reached my final verdict. I hereby find you not guilty. Rose petals, because Japan.
Just roses? Those are
Well, not rose
sakura
petals. Sorry, cherry blossoms. But it's
Yeah.
rose petals.
Roses,
is
because
a
this is
ger-
France.
Some F's in chat for his hair. Here,
Yeah.
here, I'll give you one there.
F in chat. Oh, I gotta F in chat. Give me a second.
It's over. My heart is still pounding in my chest, though. It's all I can do to just stay standing. Lawyers is such a great responsibility, such a great burden to bear.
That's so funny how the costume applies.
Oh, especially that it's like retconning her memory now. Don't they, Naruto-san?
I always remember him wearing that costume.
Shady, that's the there's optional costumes, and Shady wanted to turn the one on for Inosuke. That happened last stream, near the end of stream.
That's so funny.
Okay.
Susanoo! Thank you so much. You were so dashing in there.
Rei and Father.
Honestly, I'm so touched by everything. Oh no, I think I'm going to cry.
It wasn't easy, but together we'd made it. I was on the verge of tears at the end, too.
Sorry.
I was so serious because of you.
Oh no, I can't take all the credit. It took courage to tell the truth in there. You did wonderful, Rei. So I'd have to say that the congratulations belongs to you.
Susanoo, don't be so standoffish.
Sorry?
We're friends, equals, and the trial's over. So no more of this phone or stupidity nonsense. It's time to celebrate with swagger, to throw caution to the wind.
Caution to the... what?
I'm the great defense lawyer, Ryotaro Hado, taking you out to the milk bar tomorrow. Or something.
Right, I see. I'll, think about it, Rei.
At any rate, we really knocked the wind out of that horrid man. It felt so good.
Yes, it was satisfying.
It really was. Is there anything else we could throw together?
Hope you're not looking at me, Ray.
Oh my goodness, you of course now.
Ah, there it is at last. Rei's lovely smile.
Oh. You fought for your friend to the very last. As your father, I'm extremely proud of you, Defense Attorney Ryotaro Naruto.
Thank you, but I couldn't have done it without your help. Anyway, it's time to bid farewell to Ryotaro, I think. I shall miss him in a way, but it's back to Susato Mikotoba now.
So, I'll never see him again then. What a terrible shame.
What? Oh, that's you.
What? What is happening?
Ah, Saki-san and Inspector Osanaga, I do hope you're keeping well. Is that really you? Yes, I had to change my appearance for, well, obvious reasons, I hope. But it's me. Susato Mikotoba.
Don't.
So dashing, so divine.
No! double dashing, yes, and devilishly to fight. Just look at you. I had no idea, Miss Susato-san Esquire, that you were locum student Naruhodo-san Esquire's cousin. Astonishingly astounding, ace attorney. Oh, roll credits.
Poor Saseki-san, so confused.
Susato's like sexually confusing every single person in the cast.
I mean, she is for me, so... And I knew the entire time. I still remember the first time I ever met him. He was in a prison cell in London. What an extraordinary conundrum it was that the unwitting student from Japan found himself embroiled in. But after Naruhodo-san's skillful defense at the Old Bailey, Saseki-san was free to return to Japan. And now he seems to have earned himself great fame as an author. I'm stunned. That's a truly impressive disguise. Even I had no idea. And I'm a chief inspector at the police bureau, who came up with Mr. Turtle, no less.
I'm not sure you should be admitting that.
Amazing. You're a woman of many faces, I see. Just two, really. And this was a once-in-a-lifetime event, I hope. I'm not a patch on you, though, Inspector. Well, I am a professional, of course. I do worry about Inspector Hosonaga sometimes, I really do. 9 months ago, when he appeared here at the Supreme Court to testify, he was undercover, disguised as the head waiter of a restaurant. And then on the steamship to Great Britain, of course, disguised as a sailor to keep us safe on the journey. I mean, he didn't do a good job, but... Though that didn't help you, did it, Kazama-sama? Giggle. From my perspective, I have to admit that I have mixed feelings about all this. I mean, now the truth has been lost forever.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about the murder that the Englishwoman committed at the end of last year.
Yes. It was an English doctor she killed, as I understand. Dr. John H. Wilson, yes. The man who I invited to Japan personally.
The mystery is, why did she kill him? And now that the culprit herself is dead, we'll probably never know the answer. On the voyage to Great Britain, we had a most unexpected encounter. With Mr. Herlock Sholmes, the great detective, I mean. Yes, I remember Mr. Sholmes well, of course.
My arch-nemesis. How lightly you utter his name.
Well, according to the stories published about him in the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, the detective once had a partner who helped him solve crimes, a best friend. That man was an exceptional doctor of medicine by the name of John H. Wilson.
What? Dr. Wilson?
I just can't believe that's a coincidence. I think that the English doctor of medicine killed here in Japan 9 months ago must have been the friend and partner of Mr. Sholmes. And if that's really true, then the poor girl won't ever see her beloved father again.
As you know, I traveled to Great Britain myself to study. It was around the time you were...
Yes, grandmother told me about it.
On returning to Japan, I took up my professorship at the Imperial Yuma University. But I also served another role as an advisor to the government on diplomatic affairs.
Yes, I was aware of that as well.
In that case, I'm sure you understand that there are some confidential matters I cannot divulge to you.
Could Could you just tell me one thing? Why did you summon me back to Japan? It's been 2 months now since I returned. When I left England, it was because an urgent telegram had arrived from Japan. It said that you'd collapsed with a high fever, and you were growing weaker by the day.
What? Where did that news come from?
That's what I'd like to know, because after that long sea voyage, I found you in fine health, Father. Was there something in Great Britain that you perceived might inconvenience me in some way, or harm me? That's really the only explanation I can think of.
Dear me, do you reserve your most cutting glass for your father, Susato?
I agree, Cool, and I felt bad for ours in case 5
I'm
too.
sorry, my dear, I simply can't.
Ugh! Let me go! Many Mama-san.
So one fair wasn't enough for you?
I've got one last thing to say before they take me away. Professor.
Huh? Me?
I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on, and that visiting student's fate. Visiting student? Giselle Brett, you mean? No, not her. A student of law who left for Great Britain 8 months ago. What? Student of law? He must mean Kazuma-sama. What are you talking about? What does any of this have to do with Kazuma-sama? Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know that the guy never made it to England, that he died on that steamship, and that he'll never... Ah! Well, I didn't expect to find him in here. What were you officers playing at? Terribly sorry, Your Excellency.
Is everybody just like a master of the Susato takedown?
Everybody. I was coming to tell you that the rickshaw has arrived, Eugen. It's a good job. I came by.
Yes, thank you for dealing with him, and I'll be there shortly.
Oh, Your Excellency. The trial's over. I'm not Your Excellency anymore. Merely your father's friend, Shishiro Jigoku. Name.
Seishiro Jigoku. I think Shiro is white, and Jigoku, I don't know, is that the name of some sort of yokai?
Shishiro is a combination of the kanji for government and samurai, because implying that he's from like a samurai family or something, and his government, obviously. And Jigoku, when written in certain kanji, means hell. That's
Oh
it.
yeah, because King Enma is like the underseer of hell in Japan, and he's a judge.
Yeah, cool name. Judges do usually make a lot in most countries. And may I say that since I saw you last, you seem to have taken on a more dashing appearance, Susato. Did you know all along, from the start of the trial? A judge sees everything, Susato.
I couldn't let you take the risk. If Seishiro here had known, then he'd recognize you. So I had a word in his ear beforehand, as an old friend. So, Seishiro, shall we?
Yes, having ruled on that case, we now have various diplomatic issues to address. Before you go, Father.
Sorry, my dear. We'll have to return to our earlier conversation. Well done again, both of you. You did admirably.
Oh, thank you very much.
Now, I'm off to mysteriously die.
What did
under
you
weird
think of my Seishiro sling, eh? It's been a while since I sent a man flying like that. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Whatever could Father be hiding from me? About Giselle Brett, about Dr. Wilson. And now it seems, according to the reporter, about Kazuma-sama. Going to have to bring this up with Father sometime, when nobody else is around.
Judicial Assistant Mikotoba-san Esquires, could I have a word?
Oh, yes, of course, Sasaki-san. What is it?
I think perhaps it could be fate that we're meeting here again like this now.
Yeah, cool name. The judge knew the whole time.
You see, there's something I need to tell you.
Oh?
I believe that it may be related to the reason why your father summoned you back from England.
This I have to hear. Please, Sasaki-san, tell me at once.
I will! As you know, my time in English was terrible, cursed, I have no doubt. Such awful things I was embroiled in. Thank goodness, locum student Naruhodo-san Esquire stepped in. After he secured my freedom, I couldn't wait to get on a ship back here to my homeland. Having arrived in Japan, I submitted a report about my experiences to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The next thing I knew, I had a visitor. It was your father, Professor Mikotoba. He wanted to ask me all sorts of things about my report.
My father?
He seemed to be especially taken with a particular part of the report. Anyway, he left eventually, having thoroughly quizzed me. But it was that very next day that he sent a telegram to you asking you to return to Japan. How does he know that?
What was it then? That particular part my father was interested in. Maybe it was just kind of public knowledge that he called her back. Because they don't have many visiting, people from Japan.
I guess so.
Especially for something big like that approved by the government. Yeah.
I don't really know exactly. But do you remember them? Those two terrible cases I was caught up in.
Of course, I can never forget.
Your father.
Yeah. For some reason I thought that said Susanoo, and I was just like, why is she stuttering now? But okay.
Your father seemed to concern himself mainly with the second case.
The second one? You mean the one Mr. Sholmes forbade any of us to talk about in public?
The Hound of the Baskervilles?
That case didn't involve Natsume. Which is why the only case involving you that any member of the public is aware of is the first.
Well, I don't care. I don't have to listen to what that dastardly detective says. Anyways, the point is, it seems that case somehow was the key to all these curious unanswered questions. The horrific Hideous Highness case. The case of the haunted lodgings.
That case somehow caused my father to summon me urgently back to Japan? I thought that whole business was over, but it seems I was wrong. Perhaps that was only the start. Perhaps the story is not yet told.
Yeah, we're missing at least one Garadeb.
So, the mystery of that English woman's death is solved, thank goodness. And having stood in the Supreme Court now, I think I can comprehend a little better. How you must be feeling as you fight for people's freedom in a foreign land, Naruhodo-san. But actually, I'm writing to you today because of another matter. I met Soseki-san and we talked about that second case he was involved in. Father has said nothing to me, but I feel certain of it. That case holds the key to some great unsolved mystery. My notes on the case should still be in the office, tucked away at the back of the shelves on the left. Perhaps you might like to look over them again. Today, for the first time this year, It feels as though summer has arrived. The sky is a brilliant blue. It makes me long to see you again. Yours, Susato.
Get it? Because Natsume is summer.
Is
And
it?
Soseki gave
Wait,
her...
Yeah, but the letter isn't to Natsume.
Well, yeah, but she's paying homage to the fact that Natsume was the one who gave her the information. So summer arrived.
You got Susato's success achievement.
Woo woo!
Do we want to try to fit in a quick
Yeah, let's do an escapade.
escapade? Well, next
The
time
Clouded Kokoro!
it'll be episode 2, The Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro.
my Clouded Kokoro is going doki doki.
Yeah, that'll be next time, which will be next year.
Oh, Soseki is like soul, so it's like Kokoro and Soseki.
So, at the British Supreme Court. Okay, here we are again.
Am I voicing her now?
Yeah, we're back to normal. Unless we're switching and you're doing your Ionosuke and Tanjin Susato, but that'd be confusing.
Oh no. Every time I don't even know how to voice her anymore.
Every time we visit here, the atmosphere in this place seems to be more and more overbearing.
Just think, we could be at home with Mr. Sholmes and Iris having a nice cozy breakfast.
But we have a duty to report the outcome of the case, especially since we're guests here in Britain. So I'm afraid this visit couldn't have been avoided.
I suppose not, but is there even anyone here? You could hear a pin drop in this place. It's too solemn for its own good.
It is very quiet, isn't it? The only sound is the ticking of the great clock that keeps perfect time.
You can voice the clock. You said the next inanimate object.
Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock.
Is the clock also going pitter-patter?
I don't know, that's up to you.
I think that was another inanimate object.
What was that, I wonder?
The usual comforting sound of the clock seemed to have been joined by a less comforting shuffling sound today. Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock.
Right, something disturbing the rhythmical ticking. Sounds rather like an unfit middle-aged man running from pillar to post, clumsily. Who are you calling unfit? Oh, Inspector Gregson, what are you doing here? What am I? Isn't flaming obvious? 58 seconds remaining, Inspector. Arg! We'll have to talk later, sunshine.
Good morning, Strongheart.
Wow, he's really looking fiercely as Packawash today. And good morning to you. Business so early in the day? Yes. Well, I mean, it's about the other day.
We're to deliver a report, Lord Strongheart, as our dealings with Mr. Natsume are now over.
Ah, yes, the little Japanese man. I've already cast my eyes over Van Zeek's report. I must say, the outcome surprises me. Thank you for a job well done.
You're too kind, my lord.
It's gonna throw me off.
It's not here, and it's not over there either. I hope you don't mind me asking, but what exactly is the inspector doing? He's been herring around between the bookshelves, looking beside himself with worry. He's looking for a particular work, The Lion's Pride. Now there's an all too familiar title. I heard it was a popular tale, so I obtained a copy from the rental library. However, I wasn't able to maintain my interest, so I soon cast it aside. I happened to notice a vacant spot on one of my shelves at the time, so I duly stowed the book there. Unfortunately, I no longer remember where that was. Nope, not there. Not here either. Come on, where are you lions hiding? The book is due back today, so I've asked Gregson to locate it for me with his investigative prowess. Inside 5 minutes.
I must say, I've never seen anyone working so hard to find something. He's like a man possessed.
Ah, yes, that's because his month's salary is staked upon the outcome.
What?
At whose instigation? Let me guess, this stony-faced lord.
Find this book that I lost, otherwise
You're
not gonna
getting
get
paid this month.
for the month. Why would you agree to that? You
I don't think he had a choice. I don't think he had a choice. You can't take him to court. He is the court.
Yeah, I am the court.
And the 5-minute time limit. What's the significance of that? There is none. Just my vulgar, mischievous spirit showing itself, I'm afraid.
Oh, by your own admission.
Ugh! I can't. My feet are killing me. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up, Inspector. Gag! Which means that next month you'll work unpaid and have no days off.
What?
No days off. The dub's right there.
Literally just quit.
Yeah, Shady. I guess he's basically Gumshoe. There really are just so many books here. It's overwhelming. For some, perhaps. I've purchased every book, new or old, on the subject of law from all over the globe. Would I ever believed a few short decades ago, a place like this couldn't have existed.
What do you mean, Inspector?
When I was a lad, no one ever dreamed of buying books. Oh, I see. Western books are such luxury items, I suppose, with the leather covers and fancy bindings. No, that's not it.
Oh.
There was a tax on paper, see? On paper? Yeah, I mean, it was abolished about 30 years back now, but it used to be the case. There was tax levied on any kind of paper. So obviously that meant most folks couldn't afford to buy any books at all.
Ah, so that's why places like the rental library you mentioned came into existence, Lord Strongheart.
Indeed, vestiges of the paper tax system, you could say. The general public consider books as items for hire. London is home to a vast lending library of some 3.5 million books.
Is that how libraries came to be? Because books had a tax on them, so people couldn't afford them?
No, because libraries date back to, like, at least ancient Greece.
Like, before books were invented?
Probably. Well, yeah, definitely before printing press, so yeah. But, like, yeah, probably back before they were, like, bound books, before they had, like, the concept of libraries is ridiculously old, but that may be, but they're talking about a lending library, and they're talking about rental library. I think they're having a concept of, like, you pay a fee to rent a book. Because they said in the context that people consider books as items for hire. So I think they're paying. I don't think it's like a library like we know what a library is.
I would love for you to just do a stream where you explain to everyone how libraries came to be.
No, thank you.
You couldn't help to read all that 10,000 times.
Well, I missed half of that, but...
You couldn't hope to read all that even if you were reading 10,000 times.
Okay, well, it's not going to, like, reincarnate, apparently.
Reincarnated!
You just start singing Reincarnation from Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Oh no, you would know all the words!
No, I won't.
Even if I would choose to rent a book rather than purchase it, I knew I would read it infrequently. The subject of tax has actually surprised us already in the last few days. Came up with Mr. Natsume's trial. Seems that the window in his room was filled in due to some kind of window tax. That would be true. Fortunately, the window tax was abolished here some 40 years ago. Sadly, in the East End in particular, some windowless houses remain. Britain's always had this bit of thing for tax and stuff. Whatever they can tax, they tax. Sugar, salt, tea, coffee, you name it. Candles, beards. Wait, sorry. What was that last one? Did you say beards?
Yeah, beard tax. I know about this.
Yep, the beard tax. Never heard of it? Never. Why should people have to pay money just because they let the facial hair grow? You may well ask. I suppose it makes them look self-important. The no-herders will have a strict family policy of no facial hair, I think. You can relax. The beard tax was confined to the annals of history long ago. Even so, it's clearly something that British really love. Paying taxes, I mean. Paying them? You got that back to front, said Sean. But you can't deny you've had a lot of funny taxes over the years. You never found anything like that in Japan. Would you, Mrs. Otter?
In actual fact, I'm afraid to say that you would, Mr. Naruto.
What? No, you don't mean... Surely there's never been a window tax in Japan.
No, but there have been similarly obscure taxes. For example, in the Edo period, there was a frontage tax.
What was that?
It was a tax not on windows, but on the entrance to properties. The larger a property's entrance was, the greater the tax was levied on it.
Welcome everybody to today's stream of tax history. To learn about tax.
Attorney.
Even today, some pensions survive with extremely narrow entrances due to that old form of taxation.
I had no idea.
I need to see this.
You Japanese are as twisted as us Brits. But we never had a beard tax. I mean, that's really going a step too far.
Well, no, that's true. I'm not aware of any taxes. For beards, at least.
What do you mean, at least?
Well, rather than tax them, the shogunate did once prohibit them outright.
The ruling class prohibited beards?
It was called the Great Beard Prohibition. It was an Edo period edict.
But why did the powers that be want to ban beards? Because it makes people look self-important. Just an idea.
It would seem that rulers in the East and West have had very similar ideas over the years. There have been other unusual taxes in our history, even in our current Meiji period.
They have.
For example, though it was before either of us were born, there was a rabbit tax.
There was a tax on those adorable fluffy creatures? Like the ones who make mochi sweets on the moon?
Yes, and it was extremely large tax, too. The government demanded extraordinary sums of money.
This just gets stranger and stranger. What was the reason for that bizarre tax, then?
Well, after Japan opened its doors to the world, there was an unprecedented rabbit boom in the Meiji capital.
A boom?
Yes, keeping rabbits became hugely popular, and new species were traded at exorbitant prices. People even swindled out of all their money for exotically colored rabbits.
Like colored chicks, I suppose. Hard to imagine, though. Rabbits so timid and quiet. Would have thought one could bankrupt you.
So in response to this worrying social vogue, the government imposed the rabbit tax.
Suppose they couldn't just ignore the problem.
And it worked, because the rabbit boom came to an abrupt end. 6 years later, the tax was abolished.
Well, I hate to say it about my own country, but Japan is strange.
There's more. After the rabbit tax was abolished, then, of course, society reacted by launching straight into a second rabbit boom.
Oh dear. The government didn't think that one through, though, did they? Your ideas about the world are very much altered by the position you hold in society. If you're responsible for the running of the country, you will feel the need to raise revenue keenly. Without a stable taxation system, the whole country will go down the drain.
Welcome, everyone, to Economy 101.
Well, yes, I suppose so, but some of these taxes... That's precisely why ministers of state use their wiles to invent new and novel ways of taxing the public. Novel ways? Tell me, Mr. Nohodo, if you were one of my country's statesmen. Me? A British statesman? Yes, what novel tax would you impose? Pray, give us something truly original. Inside 5 seconds. What?
A potato tax.
No, Susato! You wasted the 5 seconds!
No, I think it's something everyone uses to really squeeze every penny out of the population.
That's quite the intense stare. I'm very glad Seto-san isn't in charge.
Lemon tax. Rug tax.
Your time is up, so what's your answer? That was a really long 5 seconds. Well...
You give us one, Shad.
Air, maybe? Yes, how about air? I go with air.
Air? No, you can't say air. They went with air.
I was gonna go with air first.
Something novel. You have 5 seconds.
Cool Name said he's glad that dude don't have his tax for being a simp, since this game would drain him. What's the goal of the tax I'm inventing? Like, just get as much money out of people?
To get as much, to get in a novel way, yeah. Maybe a surface tax. Being taxed on how many surfaces you have in your home.
A tax where every time you have to pay every time you ignore science.
Oh my gosh. How can you regulate that? An air tax. That's you, by the way.
An air tax, you say?
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruto. A truly novel and fiendish idea.
Well, everyone has to breathe, so while the population is inhaling air, my government is inhaling money.
Haha! Inhaling money.
Blimey, you're a tyrant at heart, eh? A somewhat radical solution to our country's revenue problems, but sadly not an original one.
What?
No, you mean to say...
Surely not. You mean a tax on air had been imposed already in the past? In the past?
It was last century. The finance minister of our neighbor France proposed it. What? If I ever go for a visit, I'm holding my breath.
It's a Naruto tradition to hold your breath when you go to France.
Unsurprisingly, it was strongly opposed by the public and soon scrapped. The minister didn't last long either.
Oh dear, though clearly that would have been an untenable situation.
Shady said, of course the French taxed air. The public at large are forced to be reckoned with. Don't I know it?
How about you, Inspector? What new tax would you impose?
Let me see. My first thought is a tax on objections. Sorry? But I heard far too many of them recently in court. There's a particular lawyer I have in mind as it happens. So I think an objection tax could be very handy. Good to see you don't allow your personal feuds to influence your work in public office. I reckon 5 pence for every objection raised would be about right. A most amusing proposal, Gregson. A most unamusing proposal, my lord. Well, then I think it's your turn now. Sorry, my turn for what? Why, what else? To locate my missing copy of The Lion's Pride. Oh. It's on one of the shelves in this room. Of that I am certain. Now, I shall give you 10 minutes. And let's stake your student stipend on it, Fail to find the book, and you forfeit next month's payment. Objection! Your time starts now. Oh, and one more thing. I believe you just said the word objection. Ugh. Kindly leave your 5 pence over there before you begin combing the shelves. This tax is going to be the death of me. Well, that was interesting. Little stroll down the history of taxes.
We learned a lot about
And
taxation
the
today,
importance of them economically.